Talk everyone, I'm Boyoung Moon and the host for today's talk. The weather is quite chilly these days, and do you all know that there is a saying that fall is the best season to read books? What are your thoughts? Today's speaker, Dana Han, is here to share the book which makes her heart pound, titled Living, Loving, Running. Before she shares her opinions, please turn off your cell phones or set them on silent mode. Please.
Yes.
Are you all done?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's pour into books. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is spelled D-A-N-A, so it can be Dana or Dana, depending on where you are from. Either way is fine. And this is pretty much all I'm going to tell you about myself. There are two reasons for such a short introduction. The first one is that I'm going to talk about a book that doesn't belong to me. It's not my project or my idea or my research that I want to present. And the second one I'm going to explain a little bit later. Okay. So, first of all, what I want us to do today is to have a talk. It's not like me standing here in front of you and teaching you something. Actually, I think I'm more here to learn. So, I will be asking you questions, and I would really appreciate your participation. And I'm not going to be asking questions because I want to wake you up, because you're going to be falling asleep, and not because I want to check your knowledge, just because I want to know your opinions. I want to know your thoughts. Because things I'm going to talk about today are not going to be new to you, to all of us. I'm sure you've thought about them, and I'm sure you have your opinions. So, I'm inviting you to sit with me in this circle, on those colorful chairs. In a circle because I want to see your faces, and I want you to look at each other's faces. I don't know if that's possible. I want to see your eyes. I want us to share thoughts and smiles and maybe even tears, if you're ready for that. So, this is the book. The book is called Living, Loving, and Learning, and it's written by Leo Buscuglia. He was called Dr. Hug, because this is pretty much what he did when he met people. New ones, people he knew, he just hugged them. Like in this picture, if you can see, this is what he's doing even here. It's comprised of talks or lectures that he gave to his students and also to thousands of people. And he talked about many beautiful and meaningful things. And I can't cover all of them here, but some of them I will touch upon, and one of them is how to be fully human. It's all started when he was teaching in a University of Southern California. He was teaching psychology. And he had this student, a beautiful girl, whose papers were brilliant, who was creative and bright, and please didn't work. And one day, she just stopped coming. So he wondered where she was. Was she sick, or did she move away? And so he asked one of his colleagues, "Remember that girl? What happened to her?" And he got this strange look. "Haven't you heard? Heard? What happened? What did I miss?" And she told him that this beautiful girl rode her car to a cliff, parked it there, walked out, and jumped off the cliff, splattering herself on the rocks below. She just killed herself. So, from the day he stopped teaching psychology, and he opened his own class, which was called Love. Why love? To explain his reasons, he used this quote from a different book that was written by a school principal. That's what she said. I'm a survivor of a concentration camp. My eyes saw what no person should witness. Gas chambers built by learned engineers. Children poisoned by educated physicians. Infants killed by trained nurses. Women and babies shot and killed by high school and college graduates. So I'm suspicious of education. My request is, help your students to be human. Your efforts must never produce learned monsters, skilled psychopaths, or educated lieutenants. Reading and writing and spelling and history and arithmetic are only important if they serve to make your students human. So what he realized was that we are doing a pretty good job stuffing knowledge and information and facts at people, but what we forget teaching them how to be human. And so he opened his class. Let me ask you my first question. How many of you had a class in your life that would teach you about you?
Class or course?
Course is fine, yes. How many classes? Just one? 2 courses. I want to go to that place. I've never had any. And so, of course, he didn't either. So he opened his own, a class about life, a class about love, a class about, I'm lonely, what should I do? And it was very successful, and I'm glad it was, because he started it, and it came into this book and many others, and now I'm talking about it to you. And yes, this book makes my heart burn every time I read it. So let's talk about the book. The love course, right? So again, to come back a little bit, love. Psychologists and sociologists and anthropologists have been telling us for years that love has to be learned. It's not something that just comes to you. All of a sudden, boom, and you become this loving person. You have to love it. And yet, who teaches us love? To most of us, our first teachers are our parents. Unfortunately, they're not always the best ones. But we cannot blame them because they had their own teachers, and then they did their best, of course. I don't know what's going on with the mic. And then come our teachers, our professors, our cultures, our religions, our societies that tell us what we should be, what we shouldn't be, what we should wear, what we shouldn't wear, what we should think and feel, and what we shouldn't think and feel. But in all of this, where am I? Where is me? From the moment of birth, you are programmed to become a human being, but always defined by your culture and your parents and your education. So Leo Buscuglia realized that the purpose of education should be in, first of all, helping us how to discover our true selves, our uniqueness, and secondly, how to teach us to develop it, and then finally, to show us how to give it away. So we can learn from everything and everyone. That's a good thing. And if there is anything that I don't like about this learning, I can unlearn. I like that word. But even better what I like, we can relearn. We can restart all over again if there is something I don't like. So where do we start? And here comes another question. This one, you don't have to tell me the answer, it's just for you. This is the question that Leo asked his students in his love class. 2 questions. The first one is, if you had a choice to be anyone in the world, who would you be? If you had a choice to be right now anywhere in the world, where would you be? You got your answers? Yes? 80% or more of his students wanted to be someone else. They wanted to be somewhere else. They simply didn't want to be themselves. How little self-respect, love for ourselves, believe in ourselves we have that we would be someone else, but not me. For different reasons, of course. Every year, during the final examinations, lots of beautiful girls and boys attempt and commit suicide. They may have different reasons as well. But how much self-concept do they have that they are willing to give up their life for a museum? How many people can stand up and say, I love myself, I really like me? I am not as tall as I wish, or smarter thing, or I don't know, smarter thing, or what else is there, or fat. But I am the best I've got. And I like not only what I am right now, but I like the magical potential of me, what I can become. Each of us here has something that no one else in this world has. Even if our fingerprints are so unique, what about our minds? What about our characters? What about our talents? Do we know them? I've been asking this question for a while now. People look at me. What are you talking about? We don't think about it. We don't know who we are, and we don't even think about it. That is scary. I'm unique because I have some unique statement to make. What is it? I have to find out. I have to find out person. I'm talking to myself right now. So we have this potential of being fully human, and what are the essentials? So you got it already. The first one is learn about yourself, experiment with yourself, and love yourself. We've got to keep growing every day. And why every day? Because every little day, every short day is a short life. And my big life consists of those little lives. So what new have you learned already about yourself today? Is there anything? Yes? I hope there is. I hope there is. And in order to do that, we have to be active. We have to be actively involved and be spontaneous. We get those beautiful, marvelous feelings and we don't act on them.
Sorry.
Thank you. To illustrate. Perfect timing. I'm going to tell you a story actually that is really connected to what happened just now. To illustrate spontaneous actions and feelings. Last Chuseok, I went to Jeju. I flew there, and you can imagine many people flew there as well. So the plane was packed, and it was packed with families. By families, I mean lots of kids. Maybe half of the plane were kids. And you know this feeling when the plane just starting to take off, and you get this feeling in your stomach and go, you know this feeling, right? If you flew the plane, you know what it's like. And all of us get the feeling, but only kids acted. So as soon as the plane started to fly, take off, the plane went, ooh! Everybody said, ooh, what's happening? It was just kids reacting to this feeling of theirs. And of course, parents will like, shh, shh, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. But why quiet? I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to go, woo! We're starting to fly now. Why can't we join them? Be spontaneous especially when you see something you like. You see people with beautiful eyes, you tell them that they have beautiful eyes. Someone is smiling at you, say thank you to them. In Korea, though, it can be a problem. because it doesn't end there. Every time, most of the times, I'm trying to tell people that they've got beautiful names, or beautiful hair, and beautiful eyes, or whatever beautiful there is. They go, oh, only my hair is beautiful. Like in Korean, it sounds like if I say, oh, 눈이 참 예쁘세요. 눈 많이 예뻐요. So I have to stop there and I have to give them a lecture about loving themselves right on the spot. It happened to me a couple of times, really.
Your dress is beautiful.
Thank you! She's trying to act right now.
No, you are always beautiful.
That's what I told her 5 minutes ago. So, celebrate your humanness, celebrate your craziness, celebrate your loneliness, but celebrate you. And by being a human being means you will forget things, you will bump into walls, you will go wrong places, you will do wrong things, but this is your this is my responsibility to make myself enormous. Enormous, not physically, of course. Full of experience, full of thoughts, full of skills, full of feelings that I can share with you, because if I don't have them, I cannot share. First, I have to have them. And the beautiful thing is that if I grow and grow, I can give you more of me, but what I do for me, I do for you. And when you do the same thing, you're growing as a person. You do it for yourself, but you do it for me as well. So it's never selfish. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
Van Gogh said that the best way to love life is to love many things. Okay, so here comes another question. Just tell me what you love. Just list one thing. I'll start. I love dancing. Anything else? Food! That should have been my first thing. Anything else? Just one thing?
Talk, your talk.
I like my talk! Something new!
GIC.
GIC! What makes your heart burn? What makes you happy? What is it? Just think about it, just one thing. What's that?
It's an ice hockey.
Really hard to find and do in Korea.
Yep.
Sensei?
Frisbee.
Frisbee!
Sharing ideas.
Share ideas.
Making friends.
Friends. 2 from you already, huh? He's experienced, I guess. So you see, even one, it's like, ask me right now, what is it that I love? You go, oh, what is it? What about 10? What about 20? What about 100? How much we love life by loving what we love? We have to find out. I have to find out. Again. Another thing that can help us to be fully human is accepting that you cannot win them all. This is something Julia Child said. I don't know if you've heard of her, Julia Child. She was a person who found her passion when she was in her 40s or maybe even 50s, I'm not sure, quite late. Her passion was cooking. And she became so good at it that she wrote books and they had to make a TV show for her. So there she is. Now we have lots of them, but at that time I think she was one of the first ones. So there she is making this pie, and then she's talking to you, something fell on the floor, she picked it up, and then there's the pie she's making, she puts it into an oven, talks to you a little bit more, and then it's time to get the pie out. So she takes the pie out, shows it to the camera, and the pie caves in. On national television. She didn't kill herself with a kitchen knife. She just goes, oh well, you cannot win them all. Bon appetit. We often consider that joy and pleasure are essential. We just want to be happy. We want to win them all because we think that if this happens, we're gonna be happy. We are a culture that pours and fears suffering. As soon as I start feeling pain, I'm gonna just get some pills or maybe drink. Not knowing that some of the best experiences and learning can come when you are in the state of pain and suffering. Pain is not punishment, and pleasure is not present, let's say, for your life. We're a culture that stresses perfection. I have to be perfect. I have to do all right. We're almost afraid to do anything anymore because we cannot do it perfectly. But the thing is that we have to experience pain, and we have to experience suffering, and experience crying in front of many people, like I was about to do a couple of minutes ago. Because this is where compassion starts. Compassion starts with experiencing the same thing. If today I feel pain because someone hurt me, or because I hurt someone, if today I feel and know what it's like to lose someone I love, then tomorrow when you experience similar things, I can come to you and I can sit next to you and I don't have to say anything, to say, I understand. And I can be patient, and I can wait, and I can just be next to you. I have a daughter who is a beautiful little thing, and she teaches me love many times, but also many times she tests how strong my love is. So one of the things she does, she loses things. She just forgets them. She goes outside and comes back and something is missing. Her bags, her shoes, her jackets, her toys. It's very tempting to be angry, irritated, but I don't. You might have guessed by now why. It's not because I'm such a wonderful mother, but because when I was a kid, even as a teenager, I lost so many things myself. My books and my shoes and my jacket. So I understand. And I wait. And I'm patient. And I'm teaching her that next time when you go out of the place, just look around and see if you're leaving something behind. So we have to experience all of this. We don't have to win them all, but the surprise part is that by not winning them all, we are winning our lives. Because we live fully. So joy and despair and wonder and confusion and hope and disillusionment all can be great teachers. And life is a great teacher, but so is death. Not so many people want to talk about death. We try to avoid talking about death. We don't want to. We don't want to see it. We don't talk to our children about that. Something really sad, something really painful. But death is an incredibly good friend. It tells us that we don't have forever. If you want to live your life, you should live like right now. Today can be your last day, but it can be your first day. Your first day to do something exciting, like trying fencing at this age, in this state. So just imagine, I'm this person who is trying to grow and change and full of experience and skills, and one day just go home and lock myself up and live all by myself for the rest of my life. Such a wonderful and loving person. Impossible. We need other people to share our uniqueness with. We need other people to learn to love, because like I said, it's learned. And like everything else that is learned, whatever we learn and whatever they learn, it has to be seen and it has to be practiced. So in order to see how love is done, I guess we need models. We need people who can show us how to love. I've been looking for people like this for a long time, and Fortunately, there are many of them. Well, some of them you can read, or some of them you can watch movies. But the best thing is when you can be next to them, when you can see what they're doing and how they're doing. So if any of you knows anybody who thinks that this person is the one who can teach you how to love, please introduce me to them. I want to be near them. If you think that you are this kind of person, please come to me and teach me. I'm willing to learn how to love. Love has to be practiced on someone. Yet when we talk about love, when we talk about loving relationships, most of the time we limit ourselves to just one group. Romantic love. Romantic partners. And here we've been poisoned by fairy tales. It just happens. You just see this person, and you fall in love, and you never get any problems, and you never get bored of each other. They get married and they live happily ever after. Ah, such a wonderful myth. The reality is quite different. One morning or one day, they wake up, they look at each other, and they say, "Who are you?" So romantic love is something that has problems, but also we ignore that there are many other kinds of love that are equally necessary, equally dynamic, equally vital to us. Relationships that are with our parents, with children, with teachers, with students, with neighbors, with co-workers, with strangers, with whoever. We assume that these relationships are different from romantic kind, but the fact is that in all of them, we have to do pretty much the same things. They need pretty much the same skills. And this is a completely different topic to, maybe for another talk, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about loving that much. Dalai Lama said once, our greatest duty and our main duty is to help others. And please, if you can't help them, would you please not hurt them? If each of us just said to ourselves, this helping business is not really for me. I'm going to just, I'm not going to do this. But at least I promise myself that I'm not going to hurt people, at least not on purpose. I think if all of us did it, our world would be much, much, much better place. So, like I said, love is a huge topic, but I think the main thing is the way I see it. There are two parallel lives going on. The first one is I maintain who I am. I keep growing, I keep changing, and the parallel line is I have to build bridges to other people. So if I do this to myself, I say I'm unique. I allow myself to be this unique person. I allow you to be unique as well. And if I do that, the process of leading you gently back to yourself is going to be my love to you. Not to whom I want you to be, but who you are. So in this case, we're not growing apart, but we are growing, holding hands, and not melting into one another. Okay, something that stops us from being fully human is labels. So can you please tell me the first reaction when you see, don't analyze, don't think, just first reaction when you see this picture. Oh, no, I hit myself. The first reaction when you see this picture, what is it? Homeless. Anything else?
Beg someone.
What's that?
Beg someone.
Begging. Beggar. That's it? Yeah, I was the same then, yeah. Probably homeless, begging. Next, probably dirty, probably smelly. Would I like my kid to be kissed like that? This person? Would you? Yes? No? Has anyone here seen or heard about this person before?
Yeah.
Yeah? His name is Dobrev, and he lives in Bulgaria. He's not homeless. That is his little home. He lives on a small pension that is provided by his government, but he is a beggar. He begs every day, and all of the money he gets, he donates to churches, monasteries, orphanages. So my label on this person was homeless, beggar, dirty, smelly. Obviously, he is a person who I want to be with because I can learn from him, I can learn love, but my labels stop me from doing this. Words are supposed to unite us. They're supposed to help us communicate. But what we do with words, we make boxes, we put people in there, and we think we know something. He's black. She's Canadian. They're teachers. He's Muslim. He's a taxi driver. All of these sentences get different reactions because they are labels to most of us. We get impressed with people with expressive labels, big labels. Professors. Sorry, professor. CEOs. In my own experience, one of the biggest disappointment in my life was my professor. My favorite professor who tried to seduce me. And not only me. So, what are those labels we put on people? If I really want to know you, who you are, I don't want to put labels on you, and I don't want you to put labels on me. And that is the second reason why I didn't tell you anything about myself. I will be honest with you, it's really hard. I try to go without labels, but it's really hard. I can't come up with topics to talk. It's so much easier to say, where are you from? How old are you? Where do you work? Do you have a family? Kids? Wow! Okay, there's a box. I know this person. What does your job tell me about you? 95% of people go do their jobs and they hate them. What does it tell me about you? Nothing. Let's come up with some questions. You see a person for the first time, or not for the first time, and you want to talk to this person and want to see who or she really is. So, what can you ask? Time to wake up. Yes.
What's your hobby?
Yes.
What do you do in your free time?
What do you do in your free time?
I really want to know what's your nationality?
You see, coming back to labels again.
Are you happy?
Are you happy? Are you sleepy?
Sometimes I ask what your major is.
What your major is?
Because it shows who you are quite a lot.
Wow.
Your major area.
He just woke up. Yeah, you can say why. Like, if you ask, I agree with you, it can tell me maybe about your interests. But the truth is, we talk about the ladies before this talk, so many students go to universities and have no idea what they're going to do in their lives. They just study whatever. So, yeah, like some of the questions I came up with, can you describe yourself in 5 words? Right, Alex? This is what I asked you when I first met you. Don't you remember? Who is the person you admire and why? Or what is the next thing you want to learn in your life? Or why do you enjoy things you enjoy? Or hate? Why do you hate things you hate? So, just try to, it could be a good homework to try to come up with questions that would help you to see people for who they really are. Oh, so hard. Last one. You can wake up now. You have to take risks. Oh, it's so hard. Change and grow. By experimenting with your life, like a scientist. I think you've heard this before, you've seen those lines before. To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. So what? Fools have a lot of fun. To weep is to risk being called sentimental. But I am sentimental. You saw me, right? I was about to cry. I can cry when I watch movies, read books, talk to people, see my students' progress. To reach out to another is to risk involvement, but this is what we need. It's necessary to be involved. To expose feelings is to risk showing your true self. What else is there to expose if not my true self? To place your ideas and your dreams before the crowd is to risk being called naive. Well, there are worse things that you can be called, not just naive. To love is to risk not being loved in return. But we don't love in order to be loved in return. We just love because we need to love. I do it for myself. To live is to risk dying. Yes, and we talked about that. To hope is to risk despair, and to try is to risk failure. True, all true. But risks must be taken because the greatest risk in life is to risk nothing. If you avoid it, you might avoid suffering and sorrow, but you just cannot learn and feel and change and grow and love and live. Only the person who risks it is truly free. Today's talk is me risking. I don't know about you, but I'm glad I did it. Yeah. And I don't know what, and I'm excited about the next thing I'm going to risk. I have no idea what it is yet, but I'm going to find it and try it and see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you.